if you're going to sit here and say, oh, I got some white guilt, Dan Cathy, just taking a brush and acting like you are brushing his shoes ain't nothing. The CEO of Chick-fil-A, Dan Cathy, also Christian rapper Lecrae, and we had the pastor. Well, basically, they all met up at pastor's megachurch, and the pastor's name is Pastor Louie Giglio, and they all sat down to have, and I quote, an open and honest conversation around how racism has plagued our city for generations, and the steps we all can take to confront it head on in our church, our neighbors, and our hearts. Now, the thing is that this is a full-on hour and some odd minutes interview where, not an interview, more obviously a discussion, this conversation, where they're talking about the issues of between black and white. And as the conversation goes, as the conversation continues, Pastor Louie decides to compare white privilege, or actually not compare, more like he changes the word, he changes out some words from the phrase white privilege, and he changes it to white blessing.
But I want to flip that upside down, because I think the other side of it is true with our nation's history. We understand the curse that was slavery, white people do, and we say that was bad, but we miss the blessing of slavery, that it actually built up the framework for the world that white people live in and lived in. And so a lot of people call this white privilege, and when you say those two words, it just is like a fuse goes off for a lot of white people, because they don't want somebody telling them to check their privilege. And so I know that you and I both have struggled in these days with, hey, if the phrase is the trip up, let's get over the phrase and let's get down to the heart.
Sure. Let's
get down to what then do you want to call it. And I think maybe a great thing for me is to call it white blessing, that I'm living in the blessing of the curse that happened generationally.
No, sorry, white blessings? Now, okay, so, before I go into that, because that's not why we're all here, right? This is not the reason why we're all sitting here talking right now, right? And let me just be straight funky with y'all, all right? There is no reason on God's green earth he should be sitting here trying to say that he understands anything in regards to this. There is no reason why he should be sitting here saying, oh, yeah, it's not white privilege, you see, I'm with you. It's a white blessing. It's a blessing because we had slavery, and the slavery in which we were able to build upon, which we had on the backs of these slaves to build the white privilege that we have. So it's a white blessing. No, you got it all wrong, homie. You got it all wrong, bruh. Wrong. Okay? So he sits there, and you could see Lecrae, you could tell, like, just seeing the look on his face. Lecrae is he's feeling it. He's sitting there like, you can see him squirm a little bit in his chair, like, should I respond to this or not? Man, honestly, I feel really bad for Lecrae, because he was in a situation that I feel like, he's trying to take the high road, but I guarantee you a part of him wanted to respond the way I think a lot of us would have responded with him saying these things. Then let's go on to the next part, the main event, the main reason why y'all are here in the first place. CEO of Chick-fil-A, Dan Cathy, also a renowned, very well-known white Christian, very religious white Christian, goes out of his way and does this.
So I invite folks to put some words to action here. And if we need to find somebody that needs to have their shoe shine, we need to just go right on over and shine their shoes. And whether they got tennis shoes on or not, maybe they got sandals on, it really doesn't matter. But there's a time in which we need to have, some personal action here. Maybe we need to give him a hug too, brother.
And some stock in Chick-fil-A.
Okay, watch out.
But I bought about 1,500 of these.
Wow. Do you see how fast he changed? He changed his words real quick. He's like, how about some stocks in that Chick-fil-A, yo? What's good? What about that? Nothing. He kept on going. I bought 15,000 of these brushes right here, and I gave them to my people. No. Here it is. Number one, for all the stuff that's going on, if you're going to sit here and say, oh, I got some white guilt, Dan Cathy, just taking a brush and acting like you are brushing his shoes ain't nothing. Wash the feet. Wash the shoes. You're just doing this motion like this. Come on now. That ain't nothing. You're going through the motions of acting like you're trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? Now, I feel really bad for Lecrae because Lecrae was put on a pedestal. He literally was put on a pedestal. He's the only black guy in that whole conversation. You got two old white men that are sitting there feeling guilty, or they're trying to, one might feel like he's feeling guilty. The other one is just trying to secure the bags and trying to show, hey, no, I'm not helping. I'm not funding anti-LGBTQ groups. Ignore all of that stuff. Let's ignore all of that really quick and just look at the fact that I'm on my knees using a brush, miming and mimicking the act of brushing this man's shoes when he ain't even doing nothing. If you really feel bad, hey, how about you go and invest or donate millions of dollars into black education? Plenty of HBCUs that need some money. Plenty of black elementary schools that really need some funding. But instead you use Lecrae, sorry to say this, but you use them as a token. You put them up there and say, hey, see, we're going to use this. You're using this black man as a token to make it seem like I'm hip, we're cool, we understand things, we down with it. It's not white privilege, it's a white blessing. See how hip I am, bruh? Home dog, come on now. Get out of here. Oh, yeah, I bought 15,000 or however many of these brushes for all of my white friends and employees so that they can go and do the same thing to other black people. Wash their feet, scrub their shoes. Where's the logic behind that? Is there any logic? Do you think Lecrae left that whole conversation feeling better about race? No. You did exactly the opposite, y'all. See, I've been in conversations like this before. I've been in situations like this where you're the only black guy in the room and there are old white men that want to seem like they're down with it or they understand the plight of a black person, the struggles of being black, when all they do is sound more and more ignorant. They sound more and more R-word than they actually want to come off as. And that's a damn shame. Man, Lecrae should have said something, man. He didn't say anything at all during that whole entire conversation. He had his pieces, but he didn't respond in the way I feel like a lot of people would have responded. You in a way, you feel like you have a responsibility when you're the only person in the room, when you're the only black person in the room. I know you're not supposed to be speaking for all black people, but damn, man, I wish he had spoken up a little bit. Now, I understand he did say something at the end near the after the whole taping of this conversation. And he was like, yeah, I didn't think, I understood where he was coming at. I understood the angle that he was trying to get towards, but I wasn't really cool with it, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, you can't tell me you don't feel a little bit like they just put you on a pedestal and made you look like a damn token. That's what it kind of seemed like, to me at least. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Do you think that was cool? Do you think that was something that would pass? Is that passable? To me, it's not at all. That made it look even worse. That made them look that much more disconnected from the rest of society and what everything that is going on right now is really all about. They seem completely disconnected. And I feel, like I said, really bad for Lecrae. Damn. Anyway, comment down below, hit that like button down below, and be sure if this is your first time checking out this show, hit that subscribe button. I got to get going. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.